Hi, my name is Terry Estrada, and I just wanted to, I'm a watercolor artist. This is my very first video that I kind of wanted to use somewhat as a tutorial into watercolor. I'm going to do a very simple lighthouse with some beach scenes, maybe some stairs. So I'm starting with arches. This is a hot press, and it is, what size is this? It's a 9 by 12, and it's the, let me see if I can, yeah, arches, 300 gram, 140 pound hot press. And I like the hot press because it has a very smooth texture, not like, cold press has kind of a rough texture, and with this I really wanted to try the smooth texture. So initially we're going to draw out the design, and I'm going to decide where my horizon line is, and I'm going to do it mid. If I did it in thirds, so this would be 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. And so I'm going to kind of half the 2/3, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it right now. And then I want my lighthouse to come right about here. And this is kind of just a general idea of the shape of what I'm gonna want. And then let's see, and I'm doing it fairly light. Your pencil marks will show through if you press too hard on any kind of paper. So we always want to press as light as possible. I'm gonna try my best to get an even lighthouse here. And it's gonna come just below the water. And over here, I'm gonna kind of put the entrance, I think, right here. And then in each lighthouse, it always has, different styles wherever you're located. And let's see. So I can take away that line, make a doorway, and possibly the rock situation here. And we're gonna have some stairs getting up to it. I feel like, and then these stairs would kind of take a drop down into the beach area. So yeah, that feels good. Okay, I know it's probably too light, but once I get color on, it'll start to make sense. I'm gonna start with the sky, and I'm using a size 6 brush for, it's a sable kind of mop brush, and we're just going to come all the way. I've got a little hair there, but I'll get that off. Gonna come right through here and just getting the sky. I'm gonna avoid the water line, and I really want to saturate my sky area. And remember, the sky will be seen through the center section of the lighthouse. So now I'm going to go into, I kind of like my water to be a different color blue than the sky. So for the sky, I'm going to go into French ultramarine, which is more of I would call it a sky blue. And I've just barely touched the pigments because I want the sky to kind of move, like there's clouds in it. And again, we want to go all the way down to our horizon line. And with clouds, the neat thing is they're tinier when you get to the far away, and they're bigger up on the top of your page. So here we kind of want it a little darker up here, not too much. And I'm just playing around with my size 6 here, and this kind of modeled it around here and there, and not really put a defying edge onto the lighthouse, but for certain we've got the darker in the corner. I might add just a hint more color here and there, just to show the fluffiness of this day, this cloud. We know those that live by the sea, they get beautiful fluffy clouds at times. Okay, so that is going to be my sky. And I'm just cleaning my brush off. I've got a towel down here that I can clean my brush with. I don't want a lot of water. Here, I don't know if it's picking up, but it's a little glossy right now. So I know that the paint is still a little too wet for me to move any further. Now this is the time that you can get a heat tool, but I'm not gonna try to do that right now. So I feel like I can do where the stone is, because it's nowhere near the water edge or the sky. So I'm gonna switch to a number 2 mop brush. I'm gonna get that pretty wet, and then I'm going to go into my watercolors, and I'm going to grab some undersea green. And these are Daniel Smith paints, by the way. And now this is going to be wet on dry. So the sky was wet on wet, meaning I wet the paper first and then added my color. So for here, for the ground area, I kind of want to highly concentrated and specifically put color. So I'm going to use the wet on dry method. So I'm just going to dabble my paintbrush around the bottom here. I'm going to come around this other edge of the stairs, and maybe pop up. So this is a darker tone, and I'm going to maybe identify the steps here a little bit. And now I'm going to rinse my brush off and go into some quinacridone gold, which it is a beautiful yellow tone in there, but like you can see, it's pushing that green around. And the undersea green has granulation, which when it dries, it'll dry in different textures. But the quinacridone gold is a ultra fine color, so it has just very super duper fine pigments, and so they react in different ways. I kind of want to get underneath right there. really pull up some highlights. Maybe the sun is coming straight into this section of the ground here. Okay, so I got a new color today, and it kind of rotates from a brownish color to a pink. It's called Piemontite Genuine, and again, this is like a granulation color, so it's pulling. I'm gonna make the door that color. I feel like that door needs to be brown, and it's got some mud, and come right up to the base of that. And I think I'm gonna make the posts here, 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 here. Just get these, just the illusion of a walkway here. And we can even, did you see that? My paintbrush is kind of, there we go, flopped on its, maybe there's a little something here, little rocks. Okay. I still can't do the ocean part, so I'm gonna move on to where the sand would come up to meet this lighthouse. So again, with the quinacridone gold, I'm gonna come in and just kind of marry these two together, and then we're gonna come underneath, just scribble, scribble, scribble some colors, because we're just insinuating that there's sand here. Okay, and now I'm going to go into Aussie Red, which again, it has a little misnomer here because it's kind of an orangey brown color, and I just want to plop in some, color here and there. Again, we're not going specific, we're not trying to find details right now. We just want to hint at some color. So I'm gonna take the brightness away there. Just give it a change of, see how the steps have gotten wider as they come closer to you, but they're smaller up here at the top. So that force perception there. And I'm just scrumbling these colors together, kind of giving them an illusion of being cohesive there. Okay, so like I told you, I wanted my ocean to be a different color. So we're still not there. My paper is still a little damp and wet, but I'm gonna tell you which one I'm going into. I'm gonna go into phthalo blue. Now phthalo blue has the most beautiful turquoisey color to it, and I don't want it to bleed into my sky. And I'm afraid that that's exactly what it's gonna do there. So what I'm going to try to do is just barely get up to the line. So you can see very different color blues, and we're gonna scrumble that too. Get up against the, and come into the sandy area, and where sand meets the ocean, it kind of has the habit of turning green. That's why when we look at an ocean, sometimes there's those turquoise water and there's the green waters and things like that. So this is why yellow and blue make green. So we're gonna leave some white spots for the waves, and there we go. I feel like I can do, yeah. So I'm using lamp black for the White House itself. Now, the color is going to be white, but we're going to use the white of the paper. And in order to do that, we have to show shadow. So to show shadow, we're going to use lamp black, but as minimal as it's going to be gray. It's going to show up as a gray or shadow. I might be quiet because I got to follow some lines that I drew. So without putting my hand in the paper. Okay. So I don't want hard lines when it comes to my lighthouse. So I'm using just plain water, and I'm gonna scrumble this into obedience here because I really want a nice transition underneath. But to our eye, it will definitely look like it is a white lighthouse. Okay, so I'm gonna come around in here and kind of add some more and little slats. And as we go down, now the windows will be darker and have kind of a darker awning. I didn't like that. So when you don't like something in your watercolor, you can take it away just by a little damp brush. Not certain why that held on to that pigment right there. Okay. I'm going to go back in, make these windows darker. And again, we're not doing finished products here. We're doing we're just implying that there is a lighthouse here. Most lighthouses have like these brick things right here, so and we have a wall and okay, so while that's wet, because I didn't like how that turned out right there. There we go. That's better. I think I might have dipped into lunar black, which is granulated instead of lamp black. But either way, it's still going to be a beautiful. I kind of feel like maybe I need to put an extra window right there. I didn't pencil it in, but let's see if that looks better to have, yeah, that third one. And so now the illusion of this lighthouse not necessarily being a complete circle, but having an edge as it's turning is our job, right? So we have to attempt to make these things stand out. Okay, I'll rinse my brush one more time, and I'm gonna just tap out this center again. Just pulling that water. So my brush is dry and it has no paint on it. Dry in the sense of it's not holding all of the water that it once just had. So, all right, I'm gonna leave that alone for right now. And I'm gonna add this other side. This is in shadow, so this will be darker. And because that's in shadow, so are the bushes. So we can add, and then possibly that door. Again, not too many details, and because this is still wet, I can add lines without worrying how strict to be with it. Okay. And then with this, we're gonna see little triangles of the stairs going down. So, and maybe over on this other side. All right. All right, now I'm going back into the new Piemontite, I hope I'm saying that right, genuine, because I liked that kind of brownish color it was giving me, and I feel like maybe there's a set of, you know, beach fences. Maybe some sand duney kind of stuff. And again, we want our posts to be a part of that. And I'll put the string, I'll put the other parts there at a later time. So I feel like I'm going to go into quinacridone red, just because I feel like a lighthouse should have some red on it, right? Red or blue, it's your choice, it's your painting. But I think I'm gonna go into some red. It feels super dry up here now, so it's still cool to the touch, but it's dry enough where I'm not worried about bleeding in. So here I'm going to mark where my the bottom half of the of my lighthouse. I probably should do it in with a smaller brush. Because this is going to be kind of a solid color, and the gaps are, you know, railings. We have to have the illusion of railings holding up this beautiful lighthouse body here. So I want to make sure to provide that. And then, you know, I had put, and it's kind of bumpy, but I feel like I can do this. I feel like I can get a good sweep of color here. probably go all the way to this edge. Okay. And we have, I can finish that up. So now I can finish that up a little bit better. Okay, and then we have the mechanism itself that makes the light. It has kind of a these like little glass panels that are always around it. We don't want to block the light. And I'm gonna try to get some Aussie red and some quinacridone gold to provide the light in here. I might go to Hansa yellow light. That is more brighter, and I don't want it to be mixed up with the, so yeah, I put some Hansa yellow light there. And that, I don't know if my picture is just sideways, or I might have to look at my drawing here and even this out. Okay, either way. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that alone. Oh man, I'm gonna have to lift up my page real quick just to double check. Yeah, I'm way off. So okay, that makes me feel a little bit better there. And then we'll add kind of like a little steeple kind of thing. I'm not really certain on the, like a weather vane or what this might be called. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to the actual lighthouse itself and add some more shadows. And again, I'm gonna go into the lamp black this time. For reals, it's lamp black and not my lunar black. I kind of want a non-staining black that's gonna give me what I'm wanting here, because these have to have support, and I want to make sure I'm getting the supports here, and then go underneath. Again, this is a size 2, kind of a mop brush, sable. Okay, I'm gonna push down hard right here, just to kind of give it an illusion of like how it might be shaped different. There we go. All right, so it's not detailed. We're not in the details yet, and I think I'm gonna move to a smaller brush. No, I'm going to get into some Cascade green. It's kind of a limey color, and it has kind of an opaqueness. It's not very see-through, so it kind of pops out. I'm gonna give it some greens right in here. And definitely here, where the, here we go. And I noticed that our fence line needs to probably, okay. Okay. Now, I've got a new color of kind of sand color. It's called Buff Titanium. And I don't know, I just kind of want to see what it would do, like give it some shadows in the sand. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go back into my black, put another layer of shadow here and here. It's all about texture and patience with watercolors, because you can get really good detail with watercolor at times, and then there's times that you just want to, you know, give it an understanding of what it is. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. Kind of gives it a little bit of life, a little bit of, you know, wear and tear. A little bit of depth. I'm gonna pick this up again, and I'll try to turn it. What I'd like to do is I'm just coming underneath the railing here. And then, boy, I got my hand in the green and some black. So that does happen. Okay. I apologize for making a mess, and going to try one more time with these windows and little hints of slats. All right, then a little shadow here, there, go back underneath there. Whichever direction you want your shadow, make sure that that's the direction on everything. Okay. Just kind of softening the edge here, but also trying to lay down a direction of how the steps are going. Okay. And now I'm going to move on to a, it's It's kind of a finishing brush. This one is the Silver Black Velvet in number 2, and you can see the, it's got a really fine tip here. And I'm going to use a little bit of that buff titanium, but I'm going to brown it up with that Piedmont Tight. And so it kind of made it a little kind of pinky brown almost, but I wanted it to stand out. Okay. Oi, almost dropped my brush. Need some more paint. There we go. Okay. Okay, and remember we said we are going to shadow on the same side. So if the sun is coming this way, the shadow is going to be here on all of our posts. And possibly casting a shadow. All right, I'm just going to tap those out. That was a little strong. But you understand. We get the gist of color here. Okay. So the fun part is, that's a little too bright for me here, is what we get to do next. So all these beautiful colors that we have, and again, we're just kind of insinuating that there's a lighthouse, and just insinuating that there is a beach and an ocean and stuff like that. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to take my Mop 6, and I'm going to go into my, I'm going to pull out some green. And it's kind of all 3 of my colors, undersea green, cascade, and also the green apatite. So it's kind of so I've got it loaded, and now I'm just gonna tap. Didn't really want it in my sky. And again, accidents happen. So I've got a little bit of water. Get my tissue. Sometimes you can just tap it out. There we go. I just tapped it out. That's fine. I can live with that. Okay, so let's be careful so I want to be gentle, but also be messy. I did it again, but I'm just gonna tap them out. So did I mention that this is my very first recording ever of me painting? And this is kind of how I paint. I paint messy. My whole family can attest to that. I'm a very messy painter. But I enjoy what I do, and I hope that you've enjoyed this. I am going to add a little bit of Aussie red splatters, just to bring it back down to earth here. But what I think I'm gonna do is set something to cover my lighthouse, because Aussie brown will stain more than the green will. So I'm going to cover my sky and my lighthouse. There we go. And then now I can, with all my vigor, I can splat my color of sand. All right, so I feel happy about this. I feel like this is where I wanted it to be, just an impression of a lighthouse. And I hope that this is not my only upload or tutorial. I hope that this wasn't too long, and I hope also that it was easy to follow along. Thank you for watching, and thank you for participating. If you decide to paint this, tag me, let me know. Again, this is just a random lighthouse, and we can, like I said, if I had all the time in the world, I could go into detail and do more. But this is how I'm going to finish. This is how I'm going to end, and thank you so much. You'll have a great day.